decentraLIVE.
Welcome back to decentraLIVE, where we're once again braving the heat to make sure that you stay on top of the latest and greatest in crypto news. I'm Tracy Traxler.
I'm Owen McCall. Big show for you today. We're looking all around the world, checking in with Cuba, India, Lebanon, and a host more, seeing what's happening in the crypto and blockchain space there, and of course, plenty more to come. Now first, let's take a look at the markets. There we go, up on screen for you now. The top 5 cryptocurrencies and their overnight movement. Looks like a bit of a sea of red down there. Oh, and what's this? A visit from our friendly neighborhood bear. Let's hope he doesn't stick around too much. However, it is a foreboding demonstration of what's to come here. We've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash all seen red. Trace, what do you think? Bitcoin down nearly 12% overnight, but still over $11,000 valuation.
Well, I think what goes up must come down, right? We saw a fairly rapid ascent. I think this is the aftermath.
And I think that's what we are going to see over the next couple of weeks. Quite a bit of sort of rapid fluctuation, I think we might see. Now, as we said here, Bitcoin sitting just over $11,000, $11,500. Next on to Ethereum, $272 US, down just again 12% overnight or so. XRP, a little bit worse off, 15.5% down overnight, currently at $0.333 US. Litecoin just over the $100 mark, also seeing a decline of 15% overnight. And finally, Bitcoin Cash, today's biggest loser, down 18% overnight, $341.34 US. Now, that was great to see the markets, although I'd hope for a little bit more green in the future, although I think I'm not alone there. Let's now check in what's happening around the world, crypto and blockchain. Here we go.
India's Ministry of Home Affairs recently revealed that it plans to provide a special training session for its officers as part of a concerted effort to foster expertise within the domain of cryptocurrency-related crime. Under the heading Investigation of Cases Involving Cryptocurrencies, the 2-day course will be comprised of various educational components, including a basic introduction to blockchain technology, an in-depth look at the current crypto-related legal regime, and interpretations of major crypto crimes. While participation is not mandatory, individual officers can be nominated by their respective superiors to partake in the training session. Additional participants will be drawn from a compiled list of officers who had previously expressed an interest in or affinity for IT and cybercrime. India, of course, has garnered a controversial reputation as a somewhat hostile environment within the crypto space due to a number of proposed government bans, including the Reserve Bank of India's recent de facto prohibition on banking relationships for crypto companies, which has since become the subject of review by the state's Supreme Court. Other government agencies are singing a similar tune, with numerous entities, including the Department of Economic Affairs, the Central Bank of Direct Taxes, and the Investor Education and Protection Fund Authority, signing on to the new banning of cryptocurrencies and regulation of official digital currencies Bill 2019. The bill supposedly serves as a response to the perceived issues of tax evasion, money laundering, and fraud associated with cryptocurrencies. Now, granted, India has seen its fair share of crypto-related fraud. Back in June, local police arrested a former BitConnect fraudster in connection to a fraudulent company known as Liberty Coin, which had failed to deliver the whopping 5,000% returns it had promised its investors. Let's hope that India will be able to avoid such scandals in the future by adequately training its law enforcement officers to spot similar scams early on.
Seems like India is a bit of a hotspot for sort of crypto fraud. I mean, the ones you mentioned, and then also that's where the supposed death of Gerald Cotton, the CEO
Mount
of...
Gox.
No, not Mount Gox, the Quadriga
That's
CX,
right, Quadriga CX.
Yeah, anyways, supposedly that's where the death certificate comes from, somewhere in India.
Correct.
Crazy. Huh. Well, crypto and blockchain in the Middle East have seen some real adoption and spurred high-level discussion amongst, sort of the powers that be there regarding the creation of sovereign tokens and a diverse set of potential applications for blockchain and crypto. decentraLIVE correspondent Zainab Khemseddine got the chance to speak with a youth blockchain education pioneer working in Beirut, Lebanon. Here's what she had to say.
You've also briefly mentioned teenagers. Are you implementing any youth programs?
We now have the summer camp. It's called Teens Who Code. It's happening in Beirut Digital District. It has been there since 2016. This group of people initiated this idea to educate teenagers to have fun as a summer camp and also educate them for programming, game developing, engineering, filming, etc. So this course this summer in July was the first course also to be given to teenagers, the blockchain and cryptocurrency course. And I have the honor and privilege to do this for teenagers. They said that we are here because it's the future. And as I always say, the future is now.
The future is now. And interestingly, I mean, this is something that McDonald's and Burger King figured out quite early on. You got to get them when they're young. You know, that's the same for crypto and blockchain. Absolutely. Now, I'm sure everyone out there has their favorite crypto star. You're either on Team Tone Vase, or maybe you like rather Roger Ver. For me, though, it's got to be one man and one man only. And Tracy can definitely attest to this. It's my homie, Big John McAfee. Where do I even start? From creating and running his multi-million-dollar antivirus empire to faking a heart attack to escape a murder investigation in Belize, and now running for U.S. president while simultaneously fleeing to the Bahamas to escape the IRS? The guy's life is a movie. His latest headline-grabbing move? Well, a public offer to help Cuba develop and implement a national cryptocurrency in a bid to sidestep the U.S. embargo and other economic sanctions. Now, McAfee is calling crypto adoption the next Cuban revolution and no doubt wants a piece of the action. This is a bold move for anyone, but especially for a guy who is so adamant that the FBI is keeping tabs on him every waking hour. An absolute madman. So is there any meat to this offer? It turns out that the Cuban government is, in fact, looking into the possibility of instituting a nationwide crypto offering. In fact, sitting President Miguel Diaz-Canel explicitly mentioned the potential for cryptocurrency to aid in Cuba's economic recovery. He said that on state TV just last week. Cuban Minister for the Economy Alejandro Gil Fernandez later echoed the assertions of the president, outlined a current program of crypto study and close cooperation with academic institutions. Now, this is basically bizarro world talk here, but can you imagine if John McAfee simultaneously won the U.S. presidency and was behind the helm of a sovereign Cuban cryptocurrency?
I mean, I know that's your absolute dream, but I think the likelihood of it happening is fairly minimal.
Some people just want to watch the world burn, and that's me right here.
Indeed. Well, everyone remembers the now infamous Mt. Gox hack back in 2014, which saw some 850,000 bitcoins disappear from the exchange's servers. This is also why I had Mt. Gox on my mind earlier. Well, now, of course, the exchange initially entered bankruptcy in the immediate aftermath of the hack, but in 2018, this status was changed to civil rehabilitation, and to this day, the case still rests before the Tokyo District Court. Mt. Gox creditors had hoped that the status change would initiate the reimbursal of their missing Bitcoin, but to no avail. However, it seems as though creditors might be able to get pennies on the dollar by selling their claims to a New York-based private equity firm known as Fortress Investment Group. Over the past couple of weeks, Fortress initiated contact with creditors via personalized letters, offering them $900 per Bitcoin claim, which equates to roughly 200% of the original bankruptcy value, which stood at $451 per BTC claim. The letters, which reportedly also included individual claim amounts and letter numbers, additionally stated that the $900 per BTC claim payments could be made in Bitcoin or any fiat currency as chosen by the creditor. Regardless of the chosen payment method, the letters indicated that payments would be issued within 10 business days of the claim transfer confirmation. According to Michael Hourigan, a managing director at Fortress, the $900 price is fair to both creditors and Fortress's own investors, and the firm plans to purchase claims until July 31st. Fortress has long been active within the crypto space. In fact, public filings indicate that the firm purchased some $20 million in Bitcoin back in 2013, a full year prior to the Mt. Gox collapse. While the firm has since been acquired by the Japanese company SoftBank, Fortress remains firmly in control of its daily operations. It is, of course, unclear how many creditors will take Fortress up on their offer prior to the 31st deadline, but it's certainly an interesting development in what's been a long, winding saga.
It has been long. And I mean, okay, so now you get a letter from this company and the managing director himself is telling you it's a good deal. I mean, what more information do you need?
Right? I mean, that seems like proof enough.
$900? Come on, man. It's better than that. Jeez. To the moon, a phrase that everyone in the crypto space is no doubt familiar with, if not tired of hearing. However, a story in the news this week might just tether crypto's dreams of lunar familiarity with reality. Ken Sheriff is a vintage computer junkie with a great sense of humor. He took to Twitter earlier this week to showcase his latest project, a Bitcoin mining rig crafted out of an original Apollo-era space shuttle guidance computer. Now, mining Bitcoin on a 1960s computing ring is no small feat, and Sheriff outlines all the trials and tribulations of doing so on a fantastic and informative YouTube video. The big question, however, is, of course, how long does this thing take to mine a Bitcoin block? This is addressed explicitly by Sheriff himself, and the answer, quote, it would take about 1 billion times the age of the universe. So this is definitely not an economically sound move, though it sure is awesome to see. Here's a picture of the Apollo computer itself up on screen for you here, and after Sheriff was done tinkering with it, he was able to get it to perform at a hash rate of 0.01 hashes per second. For comparison, a modern top-tier Bitcoin mining rig is able to pump out a hash rate of 16 hashes per second, allowing for a new block to be mined about once every 10 minutes. So just to recap, 10 minutes to mine a Bitcoin block with a modern system, and 1 billion times the age of the known universe, to mine a block with the technology that took us to the moon, or did it? Huh? Have to figure that one out. Disputed.
Somehow.
I love this stuff, though. Seeing guys mess around with old vintage computer parts, it's awesome. I saw actually, they even took it a step backwards. Someone was writing hashes by hand, someone else using a punch card computer. I mean, I guess they didn't ask, just because they could do it. Should they?
Well, do it for the novelty, I guess.
For the novelty.
Now,
for the gram.
Exactly.
Gram. There we go.
Now, meanwhile, Facebook's Libra project continues to make waves on both the business and government front. Let's take a look at China, where the potential launch of Libra has reportedly encouraged the Asian nation's central bank to hasten the development of its own digital cash. Wang Xin, head of the research bureau at the People's Bank of China, or PBOC, recently addressed the topic at an event at Peking University's Institute of Digital Finance. Now, according to Wang, should Libra manage to attain widespread use as a means of international payment, it could simultaneously gain extensive influence on monetary policy, financial stability, and the international monetary system as a whole. In turn, or in response, the PBOC is now making the development of its own digital currency a priority. The PBOC has, of course, been working on this for a number of years, but Wang contended that while the PBOC had an early start in this field, lots of work is still needed in order to consolidate this lead. It's already well known that Facebook plans to link Libra's value to a basket of fiat currencies and government bonds. Yet Wang cautioned that China would be weary of the potential economic, financial, and political consequences that would result from Libra's particularly close association with the dollar as the main fiat currency. Meanwhile, India has taken a similar critical stance on Libra, despite the recent pre-launch pilot of the WhatsApp subsidiary's payment services across 1 million Indian users. Not to mention the fact that India is Facebook's largest market. Of course, we already discussed the various restrictions that India's current legal regime places on cryptocurrencies. Given these limitations, Facebook has since revealed that the company will be launching neither its digital wallet service nor its cryptocurrency in India. Now, while that may seem like capitulation, Facebook isn't taking the onslaught of criticism lying down. In fact, David Marcus, the man hired by Zuckerberg and company to head the Libra project, is actively pushing back. Marcus recently published a note on Facebook, the contents of which addressed questions and misunderstandings about Libra, as well as the persistent and widespread distrust of Facebook, which has haunted the company since the infamous Cambridge Analytica scandal back in 2016. In the note, Marcus boldly claimed that individuals simply don't have to trust Facebook in order to access the benefits that Libra has to offer. Now, whether or not Facebook users are in fact willing to look past the company's disputed track record remains to be seen. But it seems as though Facebook has already made a smart play toward reestablishing trust by bringing in some 27 reputable companies to serve as co-founding members of the Libra Association.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there really has been some quite bombastic reaction on the global scene regarding this Libra currency.
Exactly. It seems to be pretty polarizing as well. Very positive and very negative.
Absolutely. And like an incredibly firm position taken by Wang on the Chinese side there.
Indeed.
Of course. The Tax Man Cometh. Now, no, that's not the title of this summer's hottest new horror film. No, rather a warning call from certified public accountant and American crypto tax specialist Laura Walter regarding an internal IRS presentation she claims to have accessed, which purportedly outlines some pretty terrifying new plans to catch tax dodgers red-handed. Now, Laura Walter, Crypto Tax Girl on Twitter, shared screenshots of the so-called IRS presentation and made claims that the IRS plans to use a number of means, including electronic surveillance, social media searches, and grand jury subpoenas in order to find and track crypto-holding American taxpayers. Before moving on to the craziest part of the story, I just want to take a second to appreciate how absolutely horrible the formatting and style of the presentation in question actually is. We'll get those up on screen for you there. Take a look at this, Tracy. What do you think? I mean, we got dark text, dark background. Was this clip art happening?
I mean, it's Windows 95 at its best.
At its best. There's another one for you
Also,
there.
it's downright illegible. Look at like black writing on a blue background. Just, yeah,
Is
way
it
to go.
weird that like the absolute horrendous nature of this presentation makes me believe more that it is a government document?
No, actually, I would tend to do the same.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, back to the story. Here's the most shocking part. The IRS will supposedly serve subpoenas to tech companies like Apple, Google, and Microsoft in order to access the personal download histories of taxpayers to ascertain whether applications capable of storing, purchasing, or trading crypto assets have ever been downloaded. Talk about an invasion of privacy. I mean, targeting a crypto exchange itself with subpoenas, while still an aggressive move, would at least seem somewhat in the realm of justifiable behavior. Snooping in on search and download history turns out not just for the NSA anymore. No, with this move, the IRS is basically moving into thought crime territory. But I guess what do you expect from the organization that brought down kingpins like Al Capone, Lindsay Lohan, DMX? I mean, it's gangster from the beginning.
I mean, national heroes, right?
Speaking of through and through, that's it for us this week. And you know what? Thanks so much for being along for the ride. We've loved every minute of it. It's been fun. We'll be back again very soon, bringing you the hottest stories in crypto and blockchain.
Exactly. And as always, make sure to stay up to date with our behind-the-scenes stuff on our social media accounts, which you'll see below.
Everything's
So
down
check us
below.
out.
Click through. Have fun with it. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again.